Jared TheWacoKidd Hamby and CrazyMarco Johnson have been prominent players in the poker scene for the last few years. Jared was having a very decent amount of success in online poker. He's accumulated almost $700,000 in winnings before he dug his heels to take a serious stab at live tournaments. In an interview with Card Player, he said that he was ready to take on the live poker world at full speed, and he guaranteed us that he would make a big score soon. Well, he did just that when he took down 2 preliminary events in the Bellagio 5-Star World Poker Classic just 1 week later, and he followed that up by taking down a preliminary event at the Mirage Poker Showdown a month later. His lifetime tournament winnings have gone from $15,000 to $1.2 million in 5 months, and he now sits in the number 6 spot in the Card Player Player of the Year standings. Marco Johnson is one of the best online players out there. He has more than $500,000 in online tournament winnings across multiple sites, and he has taken down such notable events as the Absolute Poker $150K guarantee and the Bodog $100,000 guarantee, which he took down twice in 6 months. Marco has also amassed 6 figures in live tournament scores in less than a year. Marco also has recently become a central figure in a collaboration of respected players in the online poker community who work together to expose critical security breaches in Absolute Poker. As a result of their efforts, those affected by the breaches are likely to be reimbursed by hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. Jared and Marco are currently roommates, making for a truly legendary poker domicile. Both players are here now to talk with us at Caesar's Palace about Absolute Poker and to give us insight into the strategy for how they play poker. Alright, well first off, how are you guys doing today?
Good.
Doing good, Shawn.
Cool. Well, this interview is obviously going to, just like all the other weekly interviews that we do, it's going to focus on poker strategy, but I think I would be doing the viewers a little bit of a disservice if I didn't at least hit on the entire debacle with Absolute Poker, which both of you guys are kind of intimately involved in. So, first off, for those that don't know, could you explain how you're involved in this, Marco?
Yeah, well, I was basically the one that took second place to the quote-unquote super user, even though that's not actually the right term for it. But, yeah, I took second place to him, and he was watching me when I took second. I didn't think much of it. The guy won every single hand against me, heads up. And one of my friends called me after I lost that was watching and was like, man, you just got cheated. There's no way that guy could do that, you know, based on all the hands that happened. I didn't think much of it, but I was like, all right, you know, whatever, I lost, not really a big deal. About a week later, some friends of mine come up to me and they go, oh, it's, you know, now it's certain on 2+2 there's threads that, you know, people were cheating on Absolute Poker and they've been stealing from tournaments and cash games. So then I was like, all right, I figured might as well send Absolute Poker an email. Can't do any harm. See what they say about the tournament. So I send him an email, get no response. Wait for like a week, send him a real childish email like, you know, oh, I got cheated on your site. Why haven't you responded to this? You know, what's going on with your management? You know, send me some info. What's the deal? And like the next day they send me this file that just has everyone's hand histories, their IP addresses, their email addresses, all their hands exposed before any action took place. And then once I got that file, again, I didn't know what the file really was. I don't know, I had the file on my computer for 2 weeks.
Too.
Yeah, it wasn't in order, and so we had to like mess with it, but I still couldn't figure it out.
Well, it looked like what it was is it was in exact chronological order, but not by table.
Right.
So every action that happened on every table was just in order.
That's exactly what it was. It just showed the
unreadable.
orders exactly by time, and so we gave it to Nat and a few people through AIM, and they were able to.
And for those who don't know, who is Nat?
N825024 something on Pocket 5's Nat Aram.
Just a very respected member of the online
this was actually the
community.
first time I'd ever talked to him before. And, I mean, the guy really handled it well. And, I mean, he had nothing to gain from it and put lots of time to figure it all out and return, you know, essentially over $1 million back to the online community, which is a lot of money.
We made sure that we knew, once we looked at the file, we knew what kind of sensitive information we had, and we made sure we got it into the right hands. And Nat and several of the other guys at 2+2, I think Michael Joseph and Aiden Thar, who's a mod over there, they did a great job of just uncovering fact after fact, and, you know, they gave us all the evidence, and we used it.
We gave them the file, and they uncovered everything, and it all started unraveling. The huge web of people involved.
Well, people like Nat and Chris Savage have been getting on the forums kind of really talking about this entire thing in depth, and they've been putting forth the idea that they don't necessarily think this is a bad thing for online poker. They think that in the long run this could tend to have a positive effect. What's your guys' take on that?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I actually think some people say it's bad timing with all the legal matters going on right now and trying to get online poker legalized and regulated and all that. But I actually think it can end up being a good thing because it shows what can happen when it's not regulated and when players that are going to play poker have to resort to these offshore, maybe possibly shady companies that aren't regulated correctly. I'm not talking about like Stars and Full Tilt because everybody should feel safe playing there. But I mean, while it may scare some people in the short run, I think it's going to end up definitely making things safer in the long run. And I think, like I said, I think it actually should help to get online poker regulated.
Well, and even with things like Stars, I mean, recently they just had the entire disqualification of the void for multi-counting or whatever, but they spent like a very long, like immediately afterwards, they spent a very long time investigating the matter, and then they came out with the results, and they disqualified.
They're very upfront with their customers. They don't lie about anything. They let everyone know right away that there was an investigation going on, and that they would release facts later. And that's the thing. The difference between how Stars handles cheating on their side and how Absolute handled on their side. Absolute tried to cover it up and lie to their players, which of course, since it was the guys at the top cheating, that makes sense that they were the ones releasing the statement saying, "Oh, there's no cheating," But it just shows the differences in the sides, how much better Stars takes care of things. Right,
exactly. Well, and what do you think players can do to ensure that something like this never happens again?
I just think we need to be aware of where we're playing and how the things on that site have been in the past.
The problem with Absolute was that it was a small website, and gaining $1 million or $7 million or however much they stole was like a huge gain to them. But with Stars and Full Tilt, they make so much money. They have $1 million endorsement deals. Mm-hmm. So why would they want to cheat players for $7 million when they already have so much to make from their website alone and from their sponsorship deals? So it's more probable for like a smaller website that doesn't make as much to be doing cheating, such as Absolute did, than Stars or Full Tilt, which are big.
Well, I mean, Absolute is still probably in the top 10 biggest poker sites out there, especially considering the huge wealth of poker sites that there are. So they still did have a very decent amount to lose from it. But I definitely understand your point. Yeah. I mean, someone like Full Tilt and PokerStars, they're just way too big. They stand to lose a lot.
Like their owners are more like publicly known people, and their whole
that's just some of the danger of playing on a fringe site, is what I call it. That's why it needs to be regulated.
Would you think that organizations like the Poker Players Alliance or any steps that could be taken towards regulating online poker would be steps towards ending this kind of cheating or these kinds of security breaches in the long run?
I definitely think it would help.
It's not going to hurt it.
I don't know if you'll ever be able to end cheating, win as much money as anything that involves money, people cheat at in every aspect of life, not just poker. It's probably less in poker. I've actually found poker players to be more ethical when it comes to money than people in other aspects of life that I've met. So, when I say there's going to be cheating wherever there's money, but I definitely feel that regulation will help a lot, and if we can get the right people, make sure there's always someone watching, a third party watching who's doing what, it'll definitely help out a lot.
All right, and what do you think of the way that Absolute has been handling it so far?
The first month, the process was horrible with their denying it, but that's apparent now because it was the owners that were making the statement saying that nothing happened because they were trying to cover their own path. But now they're returning. I've had $13,000 refunded to my account. Talked to several friends that have had over $10,000 refunded, and some people have lost upwards of $100,000 in cash games. So hopefully they'll get all their money back too. And once the money is returned, that's the first step to handling it right. But after how bad they handled it from the beginning, it's kind of hard to make up for.
Yeah, I read a statement today that was a little better than some of the things that I'd read recently. I just read it before I left the house today.
A little more transparent.
Yeah, it was just it had a little more of a it didn't sound like any kind of cover up at all. It was just this is what happened and this is how we're going to fix it. It really seemed like the right people are in place now that are there. They're really trying to take care of it now. Finally.
Well, and it sounds like they're actually going to fly Nat out to Costa Rica to kind of do his own little informal investigation on it, which means that they at least have their eyes trained on the online poker community, and they know that he's a respectable member.
Yes, he's going down there as a representative of Pocket Fives and 2+2 and the whole online
poker community in general.
Yeah, it's a good start too.
He's a great guy to send down there, and he's going to go down there and not really do his own investigation, but he's going to go down there and he's going to ask some questions that are still unanswered, and he's going to just kind of tie a little ribbon on everything.
Yeah,
and
show some of the
bring a trip report back. I'm really looking forward to reading his trip report because Nat's a brilliant guy, and he's going to make sure that no stone is unturned down there. And so
I believe Nat's trip report more than Absolute Poker's official statement for sure. So that's why I can't.
It should be interesting to see what he comes back with.
And no matter what he comes back with, I think it's going to be a feather in the cap to a certain extent for Absolute, just for allowing it to happen.
Yeah, we have to expect
They're definitely
that.
taking a step in the
but
right direction.
Nat's not going to be biased in his report. I
there's no way he would let Absolute compromise his integrity at all.
Yeah, he has nothing to gain from the whole thing. Just trying to help the online community get back over like $1 million lost. Which is, shows a lot about him. I don't know. Not many people would spend that much time to do that.
All right, well, enough with all that ugliness.
Yeah.
Let's get back to this strategy component of this interview.
Right.
So what do you guys do to fine-tune your poker games?
Golden Tee. No.
When you're on Tilly, just play video games.
Just talk with friends and, ask them what they would do in a spot that you had a weird, tough spot playing your hand, and ask like 5 different people, and maybe they all 5 have a different view on the hand, and just kind of take that for what it's worth and learn, so the next time you're in that spot, maybe you can make a better decision.
Yeah, I don't think there's no substitute for just running hands through people's game that you respect. Just having a core group of friends that you can talk to about hands and get their opinion on certain situations, and reading the forums, and certain people will post hands, and there'll be some good discussion about that. That's always good. I don't really ever look back at my own game and like go over my hand histories or anything and do that kind of stuff like I used to. But now I'll just remember certain situations and run them by friends, and you're just always adding a new wrinkle here and there just by talking to different poker minds.
Right. Cool. Well, I've been hearing kind of both sides of this lately, but I wanted to kind of get your guys' take on it. What are your guys' thoughts on getting backed in tournaments? Is it just giving away money, or are there good reasons for doing it?
I definitely think there's good reasons for it, because a lot of young players come out with what they think is a substantial bankroll, and then come play the 10K buy-ins and learn that you brick off a 10 of them or however many of them, and all of a sudden you have no more money, even though you're a good poker player. You just didn't have experience playing with all the people that have played on 50 maybe WPT events or 25 events. So you're really at a disadvantage if you just jump into the live events without getting backed, in my opinion.
Well, what about a lot of these? I mean, because you always hear stories about a lot of these proven winning players, just like legendary names that are getting backed still.
Yeah,
does that make any
sense?
Of
people out there
bad money management. I mean, happens to the best of us. It's
people will, they'll have a couple good years and win a lot of money, and then after spending it and taxes and who knows what, maybe they don't have as much money to play in games they're comfortable in, and that's the whole thing. Is backing is technically giving away money. If you're a winning poker player, you are. But if you have a situation that the backing outweighs the loss of profits, if you're able to play in games you're not able to play in, and or like for me, example, I was only backed briefly when I hit the live circuit, and I won a couple tournaments and just dropped my backers. I did it the easy way, but it allowed me to play more tournaments and be more comfortable live, and to maybe where I didn't have to feel like, I shouldn't make this move here. It allowed me to play the aggressive, fearless type of poker that I play on the internet live, because I felt, even if I did start losing, I'd still be okay because my backer was there, And so I think it's a good thing for some people, definitely.
The backers take like the pressure off. You can be more comfortable when you play in all the big buy-ins, knowing that you're not going to be in trouble financially if you start breaking them off consecutively.
Right. Well, what do you think is more exhausting? Do you think playing in like a 14-hour day for a live tournament is more exhausting, or spending an entire day playing multiple online tournaments?
Not even close. Online is so much easier.
Live poker is a lot more exhausting.
Live poker, it's like war for like 14 hours a day.
Especially when you're traveling and not not sleeping in your own bed and eating the food you're used to and stuff like that, and your schedule's thrown off, and it can be tough, especially when you get 4 or 5 days going in a row, like in a WPT or in the World Series main event or something. It's grueling. I've done both, and I used to be a big multi-tabler and play 10, 12, even almost 20 hours a session online. And it still doesn't compare to a full, couple days of live poker.
I enjoy online so much. It's so relaxing. You just walk around laptop in hand and play. I mean,
comfort of your own home.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, so then there's got to be some kind of huge trade-off then for live tournaments, because you're sacrificing a pretty big edge being well rested and comfortable playing at just one live tournament.
Well, where the payout structures are bigger. That's all it is you can't win that much online. So all the online players want to play live, where they have a chance to make more money.
Big 10K buy-ins. That's where all the tournament players should aspire and want to be. In my opinion, that's where all the money's at.
Yeah.
how much of your game relies on tells, both online and live?
Not that much on tells. I mean, there's some timing tells based on how quick people put their chips in the pot, but it's basically just betting patterns. I mean, based on amounts they bet and hands that they've tabled in the past, and just, I mean, I never look at a person and say, oh, he looks this way, so I'll play my hand that way. It's generally just betting patterns.
Yeah, that happens, but it's rare.
Yeah.
I generally think tells are overrated, and that if you just play good, that's all that matters. If you play good, everything will take care of itself. But if there's a situation here and there where you can, look at a guy and think he's weak, or if you can tell he's trying to look too strong, maybe he definitely has ace-king instead of kings or aces, because you can just tell sometimes. There are certain times where it comes in handy, but I think most people that when they compare online and live poker, they like, oh, well, I can't play online because I can't see this guy, and blah, blah, blah. It's not a big of a deal as people make it out to be at all.
Well, that's actually what I was trying to get out of you, because I've kind of been getting a hint of the idea that it may be very much overrated lately, just because people put way too much, they'll put way too much on just a single read, even though they haven't really been gathering a lot of information.
It's way more about ranges of hands and betting patterns, how he's played them in the past, than how he actually looks. Because people can give off false tells, reverse tells, and that takes things to a whole new level. So I'd rather just like I said, I'd rather just play good than worry about
play the hand to the best of your
how some
ability.
other guy looks
based on how he's looking at you.
Yeah.
Well, how many tournaments at once do you guys usually play online?
Sundays are usually a lot more. Like Sundays, you can get up to maybe 10 on a Sunday.
10 at once?
Yeah, 10 tables at once. But during the weekdays, like Monday through Wednesday when we play, just play 4 tables.
Yeah, I don't play as many, especially as I used to. I only play the bigger buy-ins now online, so I have anywhere from 2 to 4. 4 is my max, and then on Sunday I'll probably have maybe 6 or 7. And if I'm having a good day and I haven't busted from some of the early ones, maybe 8 or so tables at once max. But y'all know on a normal day, 4 is my max, and I usually have 2 or 3 going.
They don't start till like 5 p.m. too, so it's nice.
Yeah,
you get the whole day, and then you come back, play at 5 p.m., play 4 tournaments.
4 hours a day, maybe, if I play, too. I don't even play that much, just a couple tournaments a day.
Right.
So.
Well, then, especially for you, I guess, Marco, how much when you're playing 10 tables at once, how much do you actually focus on the betting patterns of players and stuff like that?
I mean, yeah, it gets difficult, definitely, and I mean, there's different things you can do, like put all your more important tables on one screen and all like the smaller buy-ins on another screen, so you can focus on the 4 tournaments that you want to be focusing on the most, and then have the other ones in the background.
And as each tourney gets deeper, and as you approach the final table, I think it's just natural to focus more on that one.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's when you'll start
closer.
like DBing people. You start looking up and be like, oh, is he a winning player? Is this guy on my left? Does he play big tournaments or does he play small tournaments? Can I raise his blind a lot, or is he going to play back at me because he's comfortable? Did he get in from a satellite? That's when I'll start going to probe for that information. I'll start looking.
Yeah, I mean, you can go on the internet, find how many buy-ins they've had, how many cashes they've had, and what their average buy-in is, and the number of tournaments. So like those 4 stats, I pretty much just put that for their notes. Right. You can get a lot of information about someone and how they're going to play.
When I first sit down at the table, I won't even look that stuff up.
Yeah, because with 10 tables, it's kind of hard. But when you get farther,
starts getting serious, you start trying to get you try to get as much info as you can. You maybe put it to a couple tables to the side and focus on this table.
Yeah, and that makes sense. It's just the way that a lot of people make it out to sound is that they're sitting there with 8 tables open from the very beginning, watching like every single person's hand, getting betting patterns. It's like, you guys are crazy.
No, it doesn't.
I mean, there might be a few people that play out there with
but
that.
It doesn't though, because they
focus.
happen like every few hours. Like the new table pops up and you get knocked out of a tournament. Some tournaments you're deep in, some are just starting. So it's definitely hard to.
Sometimes I'll wait till somebody puts lots of pressure on me to look them up or something.
Yeah, that's true. Like they win a pop from me, and then I'll look up their stats.
I've been real lazy about it lately. So.
Well, I have to assume that being roommates has helped your guys' poker games out a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we have, especially since we have contrasting styles. I mean, totally different styles.
Well, how different?
I'd like to think I've taught Marco a few things.
Definitely.
And about, maybe when to not press as much, or maybe to,
I don't want to give too much info about our styles, but we definitely have different ways that we play.
We definitely pick some things up off each other, and we don't really discuss that many hands because we do have different styles, but we definitely very rarely play in the same room, and definitely if we do find each other on the same table, obviously we leave the room, but we'll sit there sometimes and play side by side, and that's we'll discuss hands in there, and that usually helps. But usually we just play on our own, and we don't even talk to each other.
Because you got 10 tables,
we usually talk to our other friends mostly.
Right.
But it helps with money management is the biggest thing that I've learned since I moved out. I moved into his house when I was like right before I turned 21. Been living here for like a year now, and when I first came out here, I had the worst money management ever. But watching it, because he's older than me, and he made a lot of money in like a month, and seeing what he did with all of his money, as opposed to like some of my friends and what they've done with all the money they've made. Definitely see that money management's a huge part.
Yeah, it's not all about poker.
It isn't. Poker's the easy part. It's handling your money. That's the hard part.
Stuff about life.
Well, Vegas will really screw up your money management.
That's true. I know, but you can do it. I mean, you can balance it as long as you do it the right way.
It's all about self-control.
Yeah,
and that's been one of your selling points since the beginning. That you're supposed to be one of the best at money management. That's what you've always told me. So
yeah, that's kind of what I'm known for with my friends. You know? They're like,
better than average poker
hang
player.
on to all the money I win. Like, how do you do that?
Well, in your guys' opinion, what's the most undervalued asset of a poker player?
I think that's adjusting to the table that you're at. Like, you can have a certain style that you want to play, but adjusting to how your opponents are playing is the biggest.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Biggest strength for playing.
I would say one of them would definitely be just like tilt control and just being able to only play when you're gonna play your A game. I think that's a big thing. A lot of people they get in the habit of playing and they just wake up every day and they're like, oh, all right, well, I'm gonna play, even though they may not feel like it, they still play. That's something I've always tried to avoid. I've tried to only play when I know I'm gonna play well, and to not tilt. And if I am tilting, to take a break, just go to the bar, or play video games or something, and just never get in that where if I'm not enjoying playing, I don't play.
Yeah. Well, and I've actually noticed that with even myself too, where like, especially if I'm playing live, if I'm going out to play a live cash game, I'll make the entire trip out to play the cash game, and then even if I'm doing poorly or not in the right mindset, I figure I've already made this trip, I've already invested some time into this, I don't want to leave yet, even if it might be the best idea.
Yeah,
so and that's tougher with live poker than it is online.
Exactly, online you just close the window and you're already home.
That's definitely true.
So that's one feather in the cap for online poker, I guess. You can always stop when you're feeling
the ease of just
dead.
Stopping and changing tables and everything. It's just...
Well, who is the best online poker player out there right now? And you guys can't say each other, but you can say yourselves.
Mr. Menlo.
Yeah, I definitely think that Menlo is the best that I've met so far. I mean, I've talked to him a few times, and he's won both majors on full tilt and stars. Wins in all the biggest cash games.
I mean, he doesn't play the 100 rebuy, a couple times a week, maybe on.
And when he does, it brings his A
shows
game.
up on Sunday and he wins it. He's won it like 5 or 6 times this year. Top threes at it's just amazing. And he said he wins the full tilt, $750K, the stars $1 million.
Even if stars 100 rebuys $30K to first.
Dominates huge cash games. He kills the cash games too. He's a winning sit and go player. He's just all around, just an amazing player, and he's got a good head on his shoulders.
Definitely has a good head on his shoulders.
So what do you think it is about him? Do you have any idea?
He's the total package.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to learn.
I was going to say, you guys got to be watching.
I wish I knew. He's on a whole other level than everyone else. He's thinking ahead of the rest of the table, and it just seems like he's always accumulating chips. And when he's not, he plays a really good short stack.
Yeah, he has a solid game, doesn't make mistakes. I mean...
Kid's my hero.
Maybe you should start selling training videos.
No, we don't want him to teach it.
I don't want, please, no.
No more teaching. The training videos are killing online poker.
We don't need any more Menlos.
It's making online poker adapt. It's not killing it.
Well, yeah, that's true.
It's making everybody more aggressive.
It's making everybody repop me like crazy. I don't know if that's in the videos or what. It's happening a lot.
Well, who are the best up-and-coming players that we may not know about, or that we probably don't know about?
2 of my friends that I would talk with a bunch are BK Ice and Puff and My Perp are their online names, and they're both really good players. And whenever I have a weird spot, ask them hands on AM.
Neither of those kids are 21.
No, and both of them are young. BK Ice just turned 21. The other one's 20. So I'm sure they'll be on the circuit here soon. But just young guys that play a bunch of poker real good.
There's a kid that I have seen progress from basically it was a railbird who was trying to meet good players to talk to about poker.
Begging for $5.
No, never a beggar. No, a really nice kid who was a Pocket Fives member who was just trying to improve his game. And then he started playing, maybe won $5 tournaments, stuff like that. And he's progressed up to where he's now ranked on Pocket Fives, and he just won the 200 rebuy a couple weeks ago for his biggest score ever. His name is A Griff Rod on Stars. And his name is Nick Mitchell. He's a really good player. He's only 19, and he's in about a year's time he went from a micro player to to where he broke into the rankings on Pocket Fives. And
it's not easy to do.
Yeah, he made friends with like me and Abe Styles. And,
I know he's friends with Gary Bogdansky.
Jordan Morton, GB 2005. Gary, and he's a really nice kid. And we talked to him on AIM, and he would ask good questions and rail us, and he just worked on his game really hard. And he's definitely one of the best up and coming players out there. And another couple names probably mention just like younger kids that are just killing it lately. There's a kid over in England, Stevie444, who's been just destroying it lately. I played with him a few times and I really liked what I've seen. And then there's a kid, I think he's 20 now, David P18 is his name. He's won several huge tournaments. That kid closes. Like, I don't see him playing every day, but when he's at your table, you know. And he just, it seems like when he makes final tables, he has a really high number of firsts. And so I'd look out for, I think his name's David Peters. I'd look out for him when he starts playing live poker.
Cool. Well, that's all the questions I got for you guys. I really appreciate you guys coming in and sharing some of your insight and kind of sharing some of your story about Absolute.
Cool. Yeah, no problem.
I appreciate you guys for watching the Online Zone on Card Player TV.